All right, what's going on, everybody? G Funky Boxing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. I'm gonna wait a few minutes, guys. I know I just came out of nowhere and jumped on live. Uh, man, been busy, guys. Been really, really busy with everything, man. Life and boxing, just not boxing on YouTube. All right, so we're working on some things behind the scenes, guys. uh, Hopefully, I can drop some news here in the next week or so. Some exciting news for you guys, and yeah, I hope everything works out, man. So we could get some good stuff going here, man. Drop some good news, but bad news to report. And I don't know if most of you guys have seen the short video that I made earlier today when I got uh the numbers for the pay-per-view for Haney Prograis. Now, guys, I've been saying this for a while that this was going to be a very tough sell from the beginning, right? Um, Devin Haney's a guy who's not known to be a big draw pretty much anywhere, uh, coming off of a controversial win over Lomachenko in the spring, where that pay-per-view, again, another pay-per-view because, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, but yeah, it did around 100K, a little over 100K for that pay-per-view, which was promoted by ESPN Top Rank, the worldwide leader in sports. Um, so yeah, that tells you something there. And then he goes from ESPN to the Zone, which is still a very, it's not very well known here in the States. It's more of a UK app, for obvious reasons. But um, yeah, so you got two guys that aren't really known to sell, especially Regis. My goodness, I mean, do you guys see his fight with Zoria? Oh my gosh, that place he fought at was empty as can be, man. And yeah, Prograis is a good fighter, but just doesn't have a lot of fans, at least none that support him. Um, but yeah, it's a tough draw from the beginning, man. So I didn't think that this thing was gonna break records, but damn, less than 50K, man. That's bad, guys. That's really bad. And then just a couple weeks ago we had Benavides versus Demetrius Andrade doing around 60,000. Whew, man. Yep. Now I seen, dude. The first report I seen was I think Monday. Somebody put, and again, this is some uh, out of nowhere fucking obscure Twitter account that said, "Oh yeah, did anywhere between 300 and 350." I'm like, "Oh gosh, you got to be kidding me." But I haven't seen you in a while. The goat. Good. Hey, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you. But yep, 50 less than 50,000, man. That's terrible. There's just no other way to put it. Terrible. It's shockingly bad. That's why you see it in the thumbnail. It's shocking how bad these pay-per-views are doing. And I want to speak on something real quick. What's going on, Shadow? I see you there. I know it's late for you, man. I appreciate you joining. Larry here says absolutely horrendous numbers. Yep. Dreadful. Hideous. I mean, all the words we can come up with. And look, I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm just laughing at the words, but um this is bad, guys. This is so bad for boxing, man. Larry here says that he skipped out on the fight and watched Robesi. Yeah, a lot of us did. I had both TVs going, but no, that was a fucking hell of a fight. Fight of the year. Hopefully we see it again. But there's people that have been, saying things like, "Oh, why are you always blaming the fans? It's not the fans' fault. It's the promoters, blah blah blah, or whatever. It's boxing." But let me explain something to you guys, okay? Out of the major platforms that we have that host boxing here in the US, right? We got ESPN, we got what used to be Showtime, right? Showtime's going to be doing their last show tomorrow night, and the Zone. So I'm going to read you guys some of the ratings here that was from ESPN this year. And again, they did the best numbers according to the ratings. They're, they had a couple of shows that hit the 800,000 mark. Big Baby Anderson. I know Shakur Stevenson's fight with the Japanese guy Yoshino did 800. Butler Janibek, I was actually at that fight in Stockton, did very well, 700. Lopez Taylor, 781. Navarrete Valdez did 669. But here's what I want to read to you guys. Listen to this, right? And here's where the problem comes in with fans, right? Haney Loma prelims that were on ESPN before they went to the pay-per-view did 559,000 pay-per-views. Views. Then they switch over to pay-per-view and it does like 100K. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, what's happening, brother? I tell you what, it's a somber day for American diehard fight fans.
Yep. So I was just going over the numbers at ESPN and showing how 559,000 people watched the free prelims for Haney Loma. But then when it came time to actually pay for the main card and the main event, a quarter of those people decided to buy it,
Yep. Look, guys, and look, everyone in the industry understands that, 75%, and I'm being kind, 75% are streaming these events illegally. Yet you guys complain about everything ad nauseum. That's like that's crazy. That's almost like like I always use this analogy. That's like a homeless person constantly complaining about rising interest rates. It's like, why do you even give a shit? You don't even own a home. You don't own anything. It's like, dude, just take your happy ass over to your homeless community and just don't even complain. Just be thankful you're still alive. Chinga.
Yeah. And I want to read.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I wanted to read this comment here from our brother Larry. Double L in the chat says Eddie Hearn overpaid for Haney and Prograis and was relying on the casual public interest to be high enough after the Loma fight. It didn't, and it failed. And you know what? Let me give you a hand. You're absolutely right, man. And look, I'm going to play this clip here. I don't know if most of you guys seen this, but this is from the IFL YouTube page, or YouTube channel, I should say, where they asked Eddie, once this fight was official, they asked him why it took so long, right? Because we were hearing about rumblings of this fight ever since the summer, Yep. But it didn't happen until almost the end of the year. And I'm going to play the audio here again. This is from IFL. Or I'm sorry, no, this is not IFL. This is the Boxing Social channel. My mistake. I want to give credit where credit is due, okay? So, Joe, let me know if you can hear this. This audio is pretty good.
Go ahead, brother.
On DAZN pay-per-view, this has come with some criticism, especially from Dan Ray. You're always very quick with the pay-per-view. How do you sort of respond to the criticism?
I think it might be a sign of the times, for the market and for the purses that these guys are getting for the mega fights. Devin Haney's just boxed on pay-per-view against Lomachenko. He won that fight. He wants a lot of money. Regis wants a lot of money as well. It's the way to make the fight happen. It's our first pay-per-view in America that we've done outside of Canelo Alvarez. So we'll see how it does. I think it will do very well. I think the build-up will be intense.
There it is, guys. The fight was on pay-per-view out of necessity, guys. Not because Devin Haney or Regis Prograis are big stars and that they demand to be put on pay-per-view because fans, they don't mind paying to see these guys. No, that's not it, man. And that's where this stupid narrative is coming from, that Tank turned down $20 million, right? I just seen Bill Haney releases a video. Now, I don't know where he put it at originally, but all the boxing hype men are retweeting it and putting it out there on their social media accounts that Gervonta ducked $20 million from Devin Haney. Now, you don't have to be a genius to figure this out, guys, okay? There's a difference between putting a guy on pay-per-view, just like Eddie Hearn said, out of necessity, and because fans actually want to pay to see the guy fight. Big difference, right, Joe?
That's it, man. Look. And Eddie Hearn, he did a great job of hustling, beating his feet, to do that live gate because it's a racket he's running. Just like Heyman, I told you guys, they're doing the same thing. So all of the most expensive seats, right? He's reselling them for 3 times the face value of the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And he's making a killing all the while. Does a network see any of that?
No.
Guys, what happens, and Heyman, he should look at Heyman and say, oh, geez, that's going to happen to me. Because what happens when you're a promoter and you don't give 2 shits about the network investment? What happens?
Yeah.
You get put on a distribution deal only.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So that's what it's looking like for everything in the American market. And I told you guys this. Showtime would be the worst thing. Pulling out the investment would be the worst thing for boxing. We needed to keep that from happening. Guess what, guys?
Yep.
Now everyone is looking at their boxing investment, pulling out the microscope and looking at everything, wondering, asking themselves, should we invest in this any further? Guys, I told you the 2 biggest problems in boxing today in the U.S. market were inflated purses coupled with piracy. From a demographic that boxing promoters and networks used to be able to rely on consistently without fail. Now, they can't even rely on you. And these guys are asking for way too much money, a lot more than these YouTubers. So, guys, something's going to have to give. I've been telling you this for the past 3 years. It's happening now.
These guys are getting greedy, man. Really. We got to put some blame on the fighters too, man. Look, and I know the whole song and dance, a lot of these channels say, oh, well, these guys sacrifice their lives for our entertainment.
Well, guess what? They're going to be sacrificing their lives at the club level.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing, man. You have 2 guys, again, that have not been successful at selling out arenas here and there, doing big numbers on pay-per-view, right? In Prograis and Haney fighting on pay-per-view, guys. When then the week before you had Ryan Garcia, who just had one of the biggest pay-per-views in the last 5 years with Tank Davis, fighting on regular subscriber to Zone. And then tonight we just had Jake Paul, another guy who's proven to sell tickets and pay-per-views, fighting on regular subscriber to Zone. But these 2 guys, Haney and Prograis, have to be on pay-per-view. And why? Because they're just demanding too much money. That's fucking bad business, guys. Bad business.
So guys who are, in the immortal words of Mike Tyson, living in Bolivia, right? Guys who are completely oblivious to the reality of things, and think that, and even fans that regurgitate this horse shit, thinking that, oh man, you know what? I turned down the offer for Shakur because I heard he was offered $8 million. Where do they get this crap? They're not. They're living in fantasy land, guys. Okay, understand this. If you the way it's going to be, and we talked about the great paradigm shift. This is it, guys. This is happening. Like honestly, if they don't start taking their fighting for fair market value, which is far below what they think. Yeah, good luck. Hey, you've had a nice career, and we're going to miss you. But it's time to replace you with someone who actually wants to fight for their realistic market value. That's it.
And Larry here's got a comment for you, Joe. I'll let you read it, man, since he's talking about what you have to say. Go ahead, man.
Joe's bringing up a great point. The fact is that some of these YouTubers generate much more than these boxers, yet they demand less pay. Make that make sense. You know what? This is the problem. And all these guys who have been holding out, like Deontay Wilder, we've seen him be largely inactive. He didn't want to fight for anything less than when he felt he was worth. Understand, man, that you in the American market, and it's so now they're looking to Saudi Arabia. Guys, that's for public relations exclusively. That's not going to last forever. Now, it's funny because boxing is thriving everywhere else.
Right. Except for the American market.
Why in the American market is it dying? Virtually dying, guys. And what makes me sick, guys, is you see these YouTubers, right? Guys on YouTube that will rationalize spending more money giving their favorite YouTube channels super chats, yet they'll rationalize why they shouldn't pay for this pay-per-view, or
Right.
even a subscription on Showtime.
Yeah, man. And I had a back and forth with, and I'm gonna say his name because it's cool. We had a back and forth publicly and Ring IQ, right? You guys know who he is. He's been here before, and I've been on his channel before.
Low Ring
but
IQ?
Yeah, we had a little back and forth about pay-per-view numbers on Twitter, and I brought up the fact that yeah, Eddie, you're doing a disservice to the business by overpaying guys that aren't draws, and then he came back with, hey man, that's exactly why Benavidez' Plant was on pay-per-view, and I'm like, yeah, we know that, and that shouldn't have been on pay-per-view.
That's right.
So what's the point here, But to make a long story short, the back and forth turned into where I said, well, look, I bet you that Benavidez Plant will do better than Haney Prograis. He said it wouldn't, but it turns out I was right. I didn't want to be right, to be quite honest with you, because I want all these pay-per-views to do good.
This is bad. Yep.
But this is not good. This is something that I don't want to brag about, but the problem is channels will, pin one platform against another, one promotional company against another. That's terrible, guys. Why would you do that? Look at the numbers that these platforms are doing. I just went over the biggest shows that ESPN put on this year. And we're talking about a network that is basically free, right? It comes with every basic cable satellite package, ESPN.
Yep.
These guys, they still can't even get 1 million views for the boxing, guys.
Nope.
We cannot be dividing boxing fans, but it is stupid, guys. You're shooting yourself in the foot, man. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
What does Larry here say? I think the biggest pay-per-view flops in the this is okay, yeah. This is bad, dude. This is worse than this is the Charlo
really
pay-per-view,
guys.
right?
And look, everyone is watching this. Okay, so what do all of these events have in common in December? They almost all appeal to you guys exclusively, the diehard boxing community. And dude, the numbers are back. It's a resounding, oh shit, they're not paying for anything. Now, once again, what's the alternative? And all of these fans, they say the same thing. Well, it used to be for free when I started watching our network. Those days are long gone.
Dude, we're talking
not
40
a possibility
years.
Because Heyman tried to give you free boxing on regular network TV. Why did it fail? Losing hundreds of millions of dollars. Why did it fail? Because the numbers aren't good enough to attract big time sponsorship. So without sponsorship, without networks paying for the guaranteed purses, what's going to happen to the sport in America, guys?
Yeah, guys.
Like we've been telling you, the house is on fire. Okay, quit just standing around watching it burn to the ground. Rather than pulling out a stick and making s'mores, grab a fucking hose and try to put it out. You can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. Take your pick.
Yep. We're going to have to quote John F. Kennedy, and I got to give credit to my man Dave Duenas, who told me this. We were on the phone one day. He said, we got to do like what he said. Don't ask what your country could do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Well, we're going to have to start doing that with boxing. All right.
Yeah, man.
That's what absolutely true. For boxing instead of what boxing could do for you. We're at that point right now, guys. But yeah, what Joe's saying is very true, man. You guys don't understand how important sponsorship is to shows, in general. I mean, look at the other mainstream sports. Look at football that's getting ready to wrap up here in a couple months, right? If you watch a football game, just look around the stadium, you'll see hundreds of major sponsors all around the place, right? Not to mention they'll mention major sponsors while they're on the air calling the game. Dude, you go to a boxing event, you're lucky to see 2 or 3. It's bad, guys. It's bad. And that's because nobody's watching the shit. You guys would rather sit it out because your favorite YouTube channel is telling you to boycott the PBC or boycott Top Rank or boycott the Zone. Like, this is insane, guys. Insane. Let's see. Larry here says, I think the tribalism in boxing is hurting the sport. Some fans only watch Top Rank and the Zone. Some only watch the PBC, coupled with a few Top Rank events. Boxing fans have never been so divided. Dude, give you a hand for that. That is so true, man. And I've seen it happen, guys. I was there, McMahon. All right. I was there 13 years ago. I started this channel, guys. I seen the way that this community has shifted. And that's why I'm out of the YTBC.
Yep. It's
I
become
don't want to be a part of this.
A worthless cesspool of an ignorant cesspool of cancerous bullshit. That's all it's become. And where both sides are boycotting each other, guess what? Yeah, you both are going to win. Hey,
Yep.
Congratulations, guys. You're both
doing a great
tore
job.
down either both platforms. Guess what, DAZN, do you really think after spending this kind of money? Once again, the promoters like Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, all they cared about was paying the fighters what they really deserved. Okay, well, guess what? Now they aren't worth shit. None of them. The only draw that you can say, okay, well, he draws regardless of who he fights, is Canelo. That's it. That's it. Everyone else is contingent upon quality of opposition, their numbers.
That's right. And guys, it's terrible, man. Let me read this comment here. The praise for Haney's performance is overblown. Solid win, but he had a punching bag right in front of him, and he real boxing fan knew.
Yeah,
it was easy to pick. We all knew that.
What I can't believe is these guys they're calling it a masterpiece. Really, a guy who in his last fight, it was obvious how deficient he was. He was a limited fighter. And now, if you said, hey, man, to save his life, he couldn't cut off the ring and close the distance effectively. And this is shocking because he's been boxing his entire life. And this is why Haney chose this opponent, was so fervent about it. Now, guys. Now, why is everyone heralding this guy now as a pay-per-view commodity? Or, I'm sorry, a pound-for-pound commodity. Why?
Yeah. But then this the funny thing is the same people that are doing that are now calling Prograis trash, a gatekeeper. Can't have it both ways, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you can't.
Look, anyone who criticizes this guy, right? Anyone who criticizes Tank Davis and heralds Devin Haney. Why? Because it's for look at the quality of opposition, though. It's pretty identical, except with the exception of an old Lomachenko, which he arguably lost. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're saying he should be fighter of the year, Devin Haney.
Oh man.
Yeah, look, guys, he's going to float around just like Tank Davis in any division. At least going to try to. But look, after these pay-per-view tanks, like he's never been a part of any kind of successful pay-per-view promotion.
Nope.
Let me pull out my crystal ball. This is what I expect to happen. This is what I think is going to happen. He's going to look. Take a look, Devin Haney, Bill Haney. Take a look at Dimitri Bivol's career. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You see how does his year look? He hasn't fought this year. He's still waiting to fight in the 23rd, right?
Yep.
That's going to be you next year. Don't bother calling out the big money fights. Don't bother even calling them out because you aren't worth a shit. You demand too much money. You don't draw. That's it. It doesn't matter.
And it almost happened this year, Joe. This fight between Haney and Prograis barely made it the year. We're getting ready to wrap up this year. So yeah, he would have went almost just this year with just one fight against Lomachenko. My man Stefan here says, I can't believe two champions could fight and the pay-per-view numbers would be that bad. Yeah, it was never like that before, man. But it's a different time, man. Larry says, easiest fight to pick in my life. Regis has no jab, two left feet, and has no answer to that style. I thought Zorrilla beat him as well. I thought it should have been a draw, but I scored it for Regis by 1 point because the reason why I thought it should have been a draw was because he was knocked down in the first round. Should have been ruled a knockdown, but it wasn't. And then he gets a knockdown with Zorrilla. So yeah, it was a very close fight, man. He could have lost it. The GOAT here says, and this idea of Haney having obtained some new punching he's never had by moving up is also bullshit. When you have a punching bag in front of you, it's easier to turn your shots more. It's so overblown. Well, yeah, of course. You expect that from the Haney-acts out there. Let me tell you something, brother. I'm a Haney-act,
Yeah, you know what, guys, and I'm like, honestly, I'm so sickened by the great majority, and once again, numbers don't lie, that it's obvious only 20 to 25% of the diehard fans are paying for this shit. Yet they're the most outspoken, the most argumentative, the most obnoxious. Guys, you guys are laughing stock. Not you in the chat, guys. Obviously, you're listening to the show because, yeah, you actually care about the health of the sport. Just like our Warwick Radio family, right?
Yep.
Everyone else, they've become just trolls, professional trolls who live on social media. They don't pay for shit. They don't go out to gyms. They don't support these guys. They don't support anything. The only thing they support is each other on YouTube. They spend more money doing that than going to a prize fight, paying for anything on pay-per-view. Guys, I really, and this has been a question from real boxing guys. I've talked to so many people saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And you know what? No one knows. Piracy will kill this sport in the American market. And you see what it's done to the music industry. It's like how much good music is being made and distributed online? How much?
Not a lot.
No, guys, everyone listens to old music because it's a better product today.
Yep.
Like all of the biggest hits today, if you want to call them that, right? It only makes up 5% of everything streamed and downloaded online. Why is that? And look, it's good. Same thing is going to happen to boxing. Same thing is going to happen. But unlike the music industry, we're now to try to make up for that lack of income. Everyone ripping off and pirating and streaming their music for free, basically. And YouTube. Everyone who's been on YouTube, they understand how terrible these guys pay their content creators. Right? The bulk of your money comes from Super Chat. But as far as ads go, okay, these guys don't pay these musicians or artists anything. Pennies. So they're not making anything on their residual income. Nothing. So they are forced to go out and tour all year round. Boxers aren't going to have that luxury.
No.
Okay, where a musician can go and tour 52 weeks out of the year, 4 nights a week. Boxers can't do that. I'm telling you guys, piracy is going to kill boxing in the American market if it already hasn't. Because and once again, networks really didn't pay that much attention to this until the Showtime exit, until they pulled their investment. Now, something has to change dramatically. What I think is going to happen, G Funky, and this has to happen in order to salvage these network dates. So fans, like a guy like Michael Montero, I'll call him out too. I've been doing that for a while now. He's an idiot. He posed this question several months ago. Why should any fan give 2 shits about what the network makes?
Oh man,
you dingbat, because they furnish the TV dates. Okay, now, how's Heyman looking right now? He has no idea right now how he's going to be able to pay the big guaranteed purses of his signed guys like Canelo Alvarez. How is he going to come up with $33 million for his guaranteed purse for his next fight? Don't even talk about his opponent. Let's talk about Canelo. Is Canelo, do you think he's really going to stay at his own if he doesn't get a PVC if he doesn't get a guaranteed purse?
Right. No, he's going to say, fuck you, I'm out.
This is a problem, guys. This is a real problem.
Yep. And I want to read some comments here, man, before we move on to the next topic here, because this is funny. This whole $20 million thing, man. We're going to have some fun with that one. But Stephen here says, I got the Saudi card in New Zealand for $27.99. How much is it selling? I think it's like 40 something bucks right here. I think. Joe, I'm not quite sure.
I'm sorry, what?
The heavyweight card.
Oh, the Date of Reckoning on the 23rd on Saturday. Guys, if you're in the South Texas area, please come and see it with me for free. At Dave & Buster's. Okay, I'm going to have a bunch of my fighters out there. I'm going to be hosting the event. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So if you're not willing to pay for it, come out and support the local businesses who are. Come out and see it for free at Dave & Buster's with us. It's going to be a lot of fun next Saturday, guys.
Yeah.
Now,
But
if anyone thinks that it's $40 on DAZN.
yeah, that's right.
If you already have a subscription. If not, 65.
Yeah, that's right. They do that. That's right. Haney, the goat here says Haney is good. That's it. Nothing spectacular. I agree. He's a good fighter. See, why is people donating to Ring IQ or channels like him? Do they think he's some sort of guru with unfound knowledge in boxing? He's just pimping the fans. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm not trying to knock no one's hustle, but yeah, I don't take a whole lot of things that these guys on YouTube say seriously, man. A lot of them are in it just for profit, man. Now I want to address this. Combat Sports says, why was it pay-per-view in the first place? You can't expect a non-pay-per-view worthy card to do well on pay-per-view. It's simple. No, I mean, earlier in the show, if you just go back and watch towards the beginning, I played an audio clip of Eddie Hearn where he basically told us why it had to be on pay-per-view, because these guys demanded too much money. We agree with you. It shouldn't have been on pay-per-view in the first place.
No.
Should have been on regular subscriber to DAZN. But yeah, that's the unfortunate truth of why a lot of these fights are taking forever to be made. And this one right here in particular took a long time.
Yep.
And that was the reason why the guy asked him the question, like, Eddie, why did the fight take so long to be announced? And he said, well, you know, these guys wanted a lot of money.
Yeah, and look, Crawford is he's gonna have a hard time getting a fight. Do you think any network is gonna be willing, as terrible as the pay-per-view market is in America? Do you think any network's gonna be willing to pay for that rematch that no one's asking for? Spence versus Crawford. Then now think about how long and belabored those negotiations were for the first fight.
I don't know what network is willing to bite the bullet on that. And they actually had a successful event.
Yep. Look,
so what makes you think that this 20 million shit from Haney? I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but what makes you guys think that this $20 million shit from the Haneys is real when we can't even get a network to? Yeah, we can't even get a network to cover Crawford Spence rematch when they had a big fucking event. Oh man! And Larry says again, I don't hate the guy, but I think all of these big content creators are in it for the gains and not for the passion. Yeah, a lot of them are.
Well, that's obvious.
Yep.
That's obvious,
yep.
Guys. That's obvious. But look, this is a real problem, guys. And once again, we told you that this was going to happen eventually. Been warning you guys for the past 3 years, ever since we've been a channel on War Week. It's here. It's here, guys. What are we going to do about it? Yep. What are we going to do about it? My guess, G Funky, yeah, this is what's going to happen. If promoters don't start changing the way the money is distributed, if they do not cut networks in on the live gate, yeah, they're going to yank their TV dates, because this is the racket that promoters have been running in America, right? Where they will give, even though, excuse me, even though networks are paying for the entire main event, and that's by far where all the money goes, right? If they're paying for the entire main event and everyone purchases tickets for the main event, why are networks only entitled to get the pay-per-view proceeds, and why are they only entitled to 10% of those proceeds once they make their money back? It's like people have to start caring about the network investment once again. Because think about this. This is how bad boxing has become in the American market. Amazon Prime. Do you know how much they're paying the NFL just to show and the one game a week, every week, on Thursday? They're paying $1 billion.
A lot of money. Yeah.
$1 billion, guys. They're paying $1 billion. How much are they paying PBC to show boxing? Nothing. They're distributing. They're like just distributing the product and say, we'll do it for 10% of everything that we make, charging guys $14.99 to see this. Well, no, that's how much the regular subscription is. I don't know if they're going to charge an extra pay-per-view fee on top of that, but yeah, it's almost like Heyman has to come up with all of the money himself. And if people think that his fighters, his biggest stars, are going to be willing to do it for just a percentage of what they get in pay-per-view after these horseshit numbers, yeah, they're sadly mistaken. So something has to give. And honestly, what I think has to happen is that, one, they're going to have to give networks a percentage of the live gate, and two, yeah, all of these fighters who aren't willing to fight for fair market value are going to have to be laid off. That's it.
Yeah.
Boxing is going to have a huge facelift. And over the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot of changes, guys. And this is terrible.
I want to read this comment here, Joe, from my guy, Combat Sports Media. He says, so G Funky, that means the fans aren't the problem. It's the fighters asking too much money. Regular fights shouldn't be pay-per-view. Now, look, I agree with you. This fight should not have been pay-per-view. And yes, the fighters are a problem, but the fans are also. Because I can tell you this, man, I have a hard time believing that only around 50,000 diehard fans wanted to see this fight.
No.
I have a real hard time believing that, man.
Well, the worst part about it is, G, how many actually saw the fight and then how many actually paid for it? Like, numbers don't lie, guys. On average, everyone understands this within the business, that on average, between 20 and 25%, sometimes 15 and 10% only pay for these events. That means it's not even close. The overwhelming majority of diehard fans steal and will rationalize doing it. They have a hard time even paying for subscriptions. Like, think about how dismal the numbers were for Showtime subscription numbers.
Averaged around 300K per show.
Yeah, you can't tell me in a country in which we have 360 million inhabitants. 360 million. Out of 360 million, only 300,000 diehard fans still exist in the entire country.
No, that's not true. And also, again, I read off the ESPN numbers for their shows this year, right? And they only had one pay-per-view this year, and not one of their shows that was on regular package ESPN on your cable or satellite package didn't do 1 million. This is bad, guys. This is bad. Yeah, but I'll say this to you, Combat Sports Media. We're not trying to tell you you have to buy every single pay-per-view. If you don't want to spend your hard-earned money, don't do it. You know? Don't do it.
Look, guys, look on events like Tank versus Ryan, Crawford versus Spence, Canelo versus anybody. You guys have a lot of help. If you're going to steal anything, steal that shit. And we're not condoning that. But hey, you guys have to purchase the subscriptions because those events almost exclusively appeal to you guys. It sticks out like a turd in a punch bowl, guys. And it's obvious to everyone. You're stealing everything.
Yeah,
it's obvious to everybody.
I'll tell you like this, right? And again, I understand my financial situation, Joe's, and you guys in the chat, anybody's going to watch this after, it's all different, right? But I had zero problem paying for Benavidez versus Plant, right? Which was the first pay-per-view of the year, right? Even though it shouldn't have been on pay-per-view, but because I wanted to see that fight for so long, right? At least 3 years, they have been talking about that fight happening and it didn't happen. Once it finally came, man, I had zero problems giving them my money to pay to see that fight because I wanted to see it. So if it's a fight that you want to see, I'm saying it shouldn't be a problem. Now, again, I understand people got bills and whatnot. I had somebody leave a comment on my video that I made earlier reporting the bad numbers that, hey, man, I had to repair my car. I had to pay so much to do this and that. Look, I'm not telling you to purchase boxing over necessities, okay? By all means, take care of what you got to take care of in your real life before you purchase a boxing event.
Yep.
But if it's something that you want, you shouldn't be pissed off about having to pay for it. You want to see the fight, pay for it. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. This is a good point. Boxing Magicer says they couldn't afford a good undercard because they overpaid Regis and Haney. Guys, the purses weren't even close. You know what those guys on the co-feature got?
Yeah.
Montana Love and Liam Paro, they both got 60 grand a piece.
Yep.
Compared to $7 million Haney and Prograis got.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's 100% true, man.
And it's like I said, it's a racket that Eddie Hearn is running. He's selling a big percentage of the tickets, reselling them on a third party, marking up the prices three times, right? Treble the amount, right? And then he's underpaying these guys. He's just putting on a shit undercard. Out of necessity, he's pocketing the live gate. And the network loses money.
Yeah.
And he is just talking about now Haney fighting. Oh, and he wants the biggest fights possible. He's not worried about making any title. You know, you should be worried about actually anyone willing to pay his fucking inflated purse.
Yes,
he's living in fantasy land. It's going to be like Dimitri Bivol.
It's going to be a problem.
Haney's oblivious, and with these terrible numbers, right? What is he going to say next year? Same thing to me. Oh, Bill Haney's going to go on. No, man, it wasn't a serious offer. Yeah, it was insulting. They only wanted to pay us 1 point. Like PPV Lopez, do you know how crazy he sounds now? Oh, it was insulting. 1.5 million. Oh, that's terrible.
With 70% of the cut. Oh, dude, terrible decision there.
Where do these idiots think the money's going to come from? No one's paying for it.
And guys, that's exactly why you're seeing or hearing rumors of Teofimo Lopez fighting Jermaine Ortiz.
No, that's going to happen. Yep.
Right? Because again, you had an opportunity at a big fucking fight. You said no because you wanted more money. Well, guess what? Now they got to stick you in tough because Jermaine Ortiz is a good fighter.
Yep.
A switch hitter with a good jab, good feet movement.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of making a bag with Ryan in a stylistic matchup that favors you. Yeah, 1.5 million, but you were getting a big chunk of the back end. Oh, terrible. And let me agree with this comment here. If ESPN actually promoted their fights and put them on before 2 a.m. in the East Coast, I'm sure they would do better numbers. Oh, you're right. They put their shows on way too late for guys in the East Coast, man. I'd tell you right now, I would never stay up late for that. I would be too tired. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, look, guys, it doesn't even matter. They've tried everything. Promoters have tried everything. Networks have tried everything. Something's got to give here, guys. And the only solution is these two things, once again, have to be rectified. These are the biggest problems concerning our beloved boxing at this time in the American market. And that's, once again, piracy is going to kill this sport if it doesn't change. If fans still continue to rationalize why they shouldn't financially support their quote-unquote favorite pastime, which I question that. And if these fighters don't start living in reality, yeah, boxing is a dead sport within the American market. We're making Dana White look like Nostradamus, guys.
Like a prophet.
Yep. He says, oh my gosh, man. As much as these guys demand, it's almost like every event in boxing is a going out of business sale. Guess what? He's going to be proven correct next year if things don't dramatically change.
And then you got hardcores on here who are supposed to be hardcore, diehard fans quoting Dana White with that same shit. Oh, this is going out of sales. These guys are pathetic here on YouTube, man. Hey, my man Stefan here, he gets it. Look, these so-called fight fans want the money, man, to spend millions of dollars setting up these fights so that the fans can watch them for free. Make it make sense.
Yep, that's it. And the guys watching it for free are the ones who are constantly ad nauseum shitting all over the sport with nothing but negativity. Yep. You can always spot them because guys who pay for things, no one wants to feel ripped off. They look and they look at the events with a glass half full mentality. They look for the great things. They want to like it. They want to love it. Guys who it's no skin off their teeth. Yeah, they don't give a shit.
And Joe's right.
They want to just shit on it.
And Joe's right. You should rationalize spending money on something that you want, something that you enjoy, right? We all enjoy boxing, so it shouldn't be that hard, right? Like, look, Joseph and myself are musicians, right? I just bought myself a new rig around $2,000, right?
Woo!
New amp, new guitar, right? around $2,000. Joseph, didn't you just buy yourself I'll let you tell the guys out there. What did you get yourself recently, man?
Oh, a Taylor Grand Auditorium retailed at $7,000, but I got it on sale for only $4,500.
That's a steal, man. And a fantastic acoustic guitar. It sounds beautiful, guys. I've heard it. It sounds amazing.
Beautiful, man. It sings, and the wood smells like Christmas. It's a gorgeous instrument. And guys, that's why I'm saying we cannot do without it. It's our passion. We absolutely love it, and we can't do without it. Now, if boxing is your passion and you can't live without it, then you guys have to start fighting this war with us. Tell everybody.
Yep.
If you don't pay for the product, and this is with any business, if you do not financially support the product, guess what? It's going to go out of business. And that's what's happening right now within the American market. And that's it.
Yep. I agree, man. And again, like we're just saying, man, no one's going to buy us these guitars and these amps for thousands of dollars, right? We have to do it ourselves, but because we love music. That's why we play music, just like we love boxing, and that's why we spend our money on boxing, because we're fans of it. And again, I understand not everyone has the means to do it every time. I get it, man. I understand it, right? But if it's a fight that you want and you got the money, pull the trigger, man. It's all we're saying. All right. It shouldn't be an issue. My man Lennox is best. Oh, go ahead.
No, and guys, and once again, if that's not an option, then go to Dave & Buster's, go support your local businesses, buy a couple drinks, watch the fight for free. Go ahead and do it. If you can't afford it, go to the local business who are promoting or who are purchasing these events and showing it to the public. Go support those businesses, but do not steal it anymore. Do not, guys.
Yeah, guys. And I'm getting my hands dirty, right? This is exactly why I decided to get involved in the business and start helping regional fighters here that I know and that I feel have good potential and that want to fight, you know?
Yep.
I'm doing what I can for them, man. I'm doing everything that I can for the sport because, again, I love this sport. I've seen what it's done for people in my life, in my personal life, right? Who were dealing with things and had a bad past, you know? Boxing has literally helped these people turn their lives around, man. And it's great, man. And that's why I'll always support it. But Lennox here is saying that.
Yeah, put that up, man. Put Lennox this. He says, how can you possibly know how many illegally streamed? Okay, well, I'll tell you a history tale, right? This is a story in history. This is a true story. Fox, when they were trying to track, right, they understood piracy was going to be an issue. And I'm going back to the rematch, the huge, massive event, right, between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder rematch, right before COVID, February of what, 2020? Is that it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right before the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, right before COVID, the pandemic, till everything shut down. Right before that, we knew piracy is going to be a big issue. So what they did was, they decided to use the music tracking service that music labels and platforms use to track how many people are stealing this shit, right? And so they used Museo. And they were able to track, and they were appalled as to how many people actually streamed this shit for free.
And guys, if you haven't heard this number, brace yourself, all right? Joe's going to tell you some ridiculous number.
It's shocking, guys. Now, you remember how big this event was, and Fox and ESPN, they felt completely ripped off and slighted because Heyman sold them a bill of goods. And they gave them an initial projection that they were going to do well over 2,000 purchases. Well, it fell short, way short. And so in the domestic USA, in the US market, it only attracted 825,000 purchases. In the UK, it did maybe about between 400,000 and 500,000. So total. Now, two separate price points, the majority of the money being drawn in the U.S. I think it was 1.2 million saw it in the U.S. and European market. 1.2 million. Streaming it illegally, stealing the event, and everyone saw it. Over 15 million. Over 15 million stole the fight and saw it illegally. And Fox immediately, they said, oh my gosh, and we have to pay for a third fight? You've got to be kidding me. This is why Arum tried so hard to get out of that. Okay, let's hurry up and make the Anthony Joshua fight before so we don't have to stick this huge $25 million inflated purse to ESPN, so we don't screw our network partners. Yeah. Well, it didn't happen. They went through with the third fight, and that did even worse. And still, around 13 to 14 million people saw it illegally. Okay, so after that, immediately after that, Fox was furious. They said, look, guys, we like you, Heyman. We like your product, but we're not in the business of losing money. So we are going to put you, we are going to stick you on a distribution deal exclusively. That's it. We are not going to guarantee any more of your bullshit inflated numbers. And what happened? How many of his fighters were willing to compete for no guaranteed purse? Was Spence, none. Tank Davis, anybody? Deontay Wilder, nobody. Okay, so what did he give us then?
Yeah, bad. What did he give us? Pay-per-views.
Ortiz versus Martin.
Charles Martin. Oh,
holy
God.
Shit, dude! Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios.
Mario Barrios. Oh, then terrible.
After those failed to crack even the 30,000 mark on Fox, Fox said, "You know what? We've had enough. Pull the plug. You're done." And so he went over to Showtime. Hey, I'm ready to give you the biggest fights now. And so, so with Showtime being his only outlet, and with Showtime being scrutinized by CBS Paramount Plus, then they said, well, look, this is it. This is our last stand. We're going to try to put together the best product, best schedule possible. We're going to go out and be aggressive and get all the biggest stars, and we're going to show you guys that we can put together the best product. Guess what the fans did? They shit all over it. They rationalized why they shouldn't support it. And Showtime is now yanked their investment from boxing. And so as a result, now everybody, ESPN, Disney, DAZN, they are now looking at this and saying, is this a wise investment any further to actually pay for boxing in the American market? And no. It's obvious, guys. It's a resounding no. Boxing, unless something dramatically changes, will be dead this time next year in the American market.
Joseph, take over. I have to step away just for 1 second, okay?
No. I got it, man. And look, guys, something has to give. And I know fans are like, oh, you can't blame the fans. Yeah, you can, because fans, diehards especially, are the only ones complaining ad nauseum that, oh, we don't get the best fight in the best. Yeah, well, when Showtime gives it to you, oh, it's too many pay-per-views now. I don't have enough money. Well, something has to give. Now, once again, the two biggest issues, and both of them have to be rectified in order for boxing to repair itself. Now, once again, either fans have to start paying for subscriptions at least for subscriptions, or fighters have to start living in reality and fighting for fair market value. Yeah. And once again, combat sports has to be, but you know what? He's not the only culprit. Eddie Hearn just did it.
Yeah. Eddie Hearn just screwed
DAZN in the drive-thru.
And so did Bob Arum. So did Bob Arum earlier this year with the same guy, Devin Haney.
Yep.
The same guy. So, but Heyman, no, you're right. Heyman is the guy he's the worst out of all of them, for sure.
Well, you know what? He has no choice now. Guess what? Heyman, look, now you guys understand why Heyman had all of these critics coming into the sport, because Bob Arum, Don Chargan, the late, great Don Chargan, my mentor, warned him, you know what, paying out these inflated prices, I appreciate what you're trying to do for the fighters, but it's not realistic, Al. Mm-hmm. It's a very unhealthy practice that never ends well for the health of the sport. And once again, you pay these guys and you get them used to receiving these inflated purses. How much you think it makes it virtually impossible to put together the best matchups? How much you think these guys are going to expect now? If they've grown accustomed to making millions for soft touches,
and I'm glad
they're going to want you to break the bank.
I'm glad you just
That's
said
what we're
that.
seeing now, guys.
I'm glad you just said that, Joe, because that leads right into the next topic with this new thing from Bill Haney that Tank turned down $20 million guaranteed, is what he said.
Oh my gosh.
To fight Devin Haney next. Oh man, I mean, these guys, I mean, it seems like every other day somebody has turned down an offer from Devin Haney for millions and millions of dollars guaranteed.
Where's the money supposed to come from, Bill?
Exactly.
Dude,
first it was Matias, right? Remember? Matias turned down $4 million, right? That never happened. No. Now it's Tank Davis, right? And again, guys, if Tank is going to get guaranteed $20 million to fight Devin Haney, how much do you think Haney's asking for? Really? How much do you think they just made $4 million fighting Regis Prograis? Okay. A guy that was tailor made for his style. How much do you think he's going to ask for here?
Yep.
That money is coming from nowhere because it doesn't exist. There was no offer. There was no nothing. It's complete bullshit. Fantasy land, like Joe says.
look, guys, and Haney, Bill, Devin, hey, don't spend all your money in one place, guys. Put it in the bank. Put in your savings and save for a rainy day because it's about to pour, guys. Look, no one next year is going to be willing to pay those absurd inflated purses for anybody except the proven attractions. And I can count on one hand how many there are in the American market left.
Yep.
And that's it. Everyone else is going to have to fight for whatever the networks deem suitable. And that's
the best way.
Not going to be, and so once again, if the guys like Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, everyone, now, once again, guys Shakur Stevenson, and he's got one more fight left in his contract with Top Rank, as I understand.
Yeah.
Who's going to be willing to pay that guy?
Right. After his last performance, holy shit.
Now, this is how bad it is, guys, right? This is how bad it is. We have fighters locally, right? We sometimes get guys like, well, I'm not going to mention any names. It's going to be embarrassing. But we have big fighters who are kind of in limbo within the boxing business, but who have been on network TV before. And they say, well, I'll come down and fight on your card for $15,000, $20,000. I'm like, no, because you can't sell tickets here. We'd rather put on this guy who's 4-0 and who actually sells tickets. Sorry, man, but I'm sorry, that's too inflated for what you bring to the table. No one knows who you are, realistically. Like, they know who this kid is from San Antonio, and this kid is willing to fight for only $5,000. Sorry, man. So unless it's happening on every level, unless these fighters are willing to fight for their fair market value, what they're truly worth, then it's not going to work. Well, hey, you've had a nice career if you're not willing to take less, and we're going to miss you.
Yeah, guys, it's the season for the elf on the shelf. Yeah, that's what's going to happen to a lot of these guys who are demanding this type of money, but don't bring nothing to the table. All right. Now,
my guess is you're going to see a ton of Danny Garcias and Mikey Garcias and Keith Thurmans. You're going to see all of those next year. That's going to be the majority of
Andy Ruiz. Yep.
That's going to be the majority of the marquee headliners in boxing next year. Okay. Yep. And you're going to see us roll with the scab. It's going to look a lot. Do you remember that season in the 80s where the Players Association went on strike in the NFL?
Oh, in the NFL? Yeah. And they had to,
Do you remember that? This is what it's going to look like. They're going to be watching while they're sitting at home. They're going to be watching Top Rank, Golden Boy. All of these guys give these young, hungry prospects these opportunities for less money. And they're just going to be sitting home with everyone else watching them. That's what's going to happen next year.
Talking about everyone's ducking me. I'm being ducked by the whole division. Okay, guys. Let's talk some real shit here, okay, guys? Don't let these channels here tell you that a guy like Devin Haney is a pay-per-view star now just because he's fought 2 fights in a row on pay-per-view.
Oh my
Because
God.
that's what's already going around. Okay, guys. There's a difference between putting a guy on pay-per-view because he's a big-time attraction, or because you had to do it because they're demanding too much money. Like we heard Eddie Hearn say earlier, right?
Yep.
That's exactly what it was happening with Devin Haney here. Okay.
Yep.
He's on pay-per-view, right? Let's start with the Lomachenko fight, right? The reason that fight was on pay-per-view and not his fights with George Kambosos, right, was because Bob Arum took a risk. He was very confident that Lomachenko was going to lift those belts off of Haney, and most people thought he did. Judges seen it another way. So, yeah, he paid the guy the money. They had to put it on pay-per-view. Thought they were going to lift the belts off of him. Didn't go his way. So he said, hey, well, have a nice one, Haney.
Yep.
That's the last time I'm going to overpay your ass, you know?
Yep. Ask us why he wasn't interested in the rematch.
Right. Because the pay-per-view only did barely over 100K, and the gate was what? I think $1 million, little over $1 million in Vegas. Look, holy shit.
Compared to this, yeah, that looks like a blockbuster compared to his most recent outing.
Right.
I mean, dude, that's terrible.
You had a packed house in your hometown, which is great. Hey, look, let's give him a hand for that. Right. Had a good amount of people there, 16,000 people. But again, not Vegas.
Nope.
Tickets aren't as expensive, which is good because I'm glad more fans can come to the show. But yeah, that gate is not, I don't think that gate's going to do as much as it did with Loma, right? And of course, the pay-per-view numbers are shit compared to Loma. Yeah, you're right, Joe. The Loma fight was not good, but it was like a blockbuster compared to what he did here with Prograis, guys.
Yeah. Hey, G Funky. Now, what were on average top ranks numbers this year on ESPN and ESPN Plus?
If I could do some quick numbers, I would say around like 500 to 600, something like that, maybe.
So that's on regular network TV, and then a very popular streaming service like ESPN Plus, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you think DAZN's numbers are looking right now?
Oh man, they're in the fucking toilet. They're in the toilet, guys.
And they just spent, oh my gosh, $7 million for that. and Ryan Garcia, they had to pay him. Well, and he didn't really seem to really make any noise on regular subscriber DAZN. I don't hear of them saying that there's been a massive increase in subscription numbers in the American market as a result.
No,
guys, December. Now, once again, this is all DAZN by design. They want to see what they have by the end of the final quarter of the fiscal year 2023. And it's not looking good, guys. Why do you think we're seeing another pay-per-view in the American market on the 23rd? Guys,
right.
and Kevin Rooney Jr. stated this several months ago. I'm just worried that they're going to yank their investment from the American market. What are we going to do now, guys? What are we going to do?
I haven't heard this. Have you heard this? Larry says, no, I'm not saying it's not true, but I haven't heard it. Mickey Bay, who was involved with the Haney's training, went as far as to say that Richardson Hitchens and Haney made a deal not to fight each other since they're friends. Well, they've been doing a lot of barking on Twitter, but that's about it.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I haven't spoken to Mickey in years, so I can't tell you. But yeah, I love Mickey, man. He's a great guy, but he's another gentleman who's not living in reality as far as numbers go and what he feels fighters are worth. Remember, wasn't he supposed to fight Tevin Farmer so many times, and people kept on ducking out because they wanted too much money? Yeah, that there's a reason for that, guys. Mm-hmm. Because fighters just aren't living in reality any longer.
No. And let's get back on this $20 million thing, right? So we already went over the numbers of Haney's pay-per-views and his gates, ticket sales, whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So you tell me this, guys, with all the information you just got here. And again, this is not coming from us. This is public record, guys. You can see it for yourself.
Yep.
Who the fuck is going to want to give, let's just say Haney's probably asking for $10 million to fight Tank Davis, somewhere around that. If you just got 4 for Regis Prograis, right? So we're talking close to $30 million combined purse for the main event of a supposed fight between Tank Davis and Devin Haney. You tell me what network would be fucking dumb enough to put that kind of money into that kind of fight when one guy can't sell dick and the other guy is selling out arenas everywhere and just did over $100 million in pay-per-view revenue and over $20 million something in gate, right? It's not going to happen, guys. There was no fucking offer. It's bullshit. Don't let these boxing hype men on YouTube lie to you guys, okay?
They're oblivious. They're completely
go ahead.
oblivious to reality. Like, once again, guys, if you're in the business, you understand the reality of this. And we've been telling you for a very long time that it's dire. The health of the sport, we're on life support, guys, right now. And I honestly, and everyone in the business is scratching their head. We have no idea what's going to happen. And we really don't know what to do about it. Me personally, I'm fine. Boxing is thriving in the regional markets here. South Texas, we're doing great. Yeah. We had over 4,500 people crammed in this social spot venue and came out at 40-degree weather to watch their favorite fighters locally.
That's probably more than Prograis Zorilla drew in New Orleans for his big homecoming fight. But that's great, man. You see,
and look, and we put together a product that even at the regional level, we match these guys in. If they're not huge ticket sellers, we match them in tough 50-50 fights. That's the only way they're going to increase their market value. And we hustle. We go out and we put on the stage these promotional events to help expedite ticket sales and to help boost the energy surrounding the event. The fighters love it. The fans love it. In my opinion, you're going to see that out of necessity, pop up in major metropolitan areas everywhere in the country. We're going to have to go back to the basics, the Don Chargan method of promoting and cultivating stars.
Yep. I'm good with that.
You've got to start with that level.
I'm good with that, guys.
What's going to have to happen, guys?
Yeah, you guys see me working with regional fighters here, helping getting them on big platforms and things like that, going to local gyms, talking with the fighters. I got no problem with that. It's these guys on YouTube, these hustlers on YouTube. They're going to have a problem, all right? And Adam Hurley here said, you know what? I agree. Haney style does not attract mainstream casual fans. Just doesn't, man. And don't let these guys, you use a casual, all that. But no, fuck you, okay? I'm sorry. The guy holds too much, doesn't punch enough, safety first. It's not appealing to the fans, guys. It's just not. No. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. He looks like he doesn't want to engage. But no. Steven, look, Steven, you don't get it, my friend. Boxing, $1 million guarantees. No. These guys are going to have to start investing in themselves and fighting for a percentage of the pay-per-view. That's it. That's what the future holds, because no networks in a very short amount of time here, they're not going to be willing to pay anything guaranteed any longer.
Yeah.
Because is there any guarantee? Now, once again, you talk about guarantees. Is there any guarantee that anyone's going to financially support it? No, the networks they've had enough. And look, like I stated, Showtime pulling out their investment was the worst possible thing that could have happened to a symbiont industry like boxing. And I've told you guys, one platform success always results in everyone else's success as well. And that means that one platform's demise always results, it never ends well and affects everyone else in the sport. Guess what? It just did. It has. Now platforms, all of them, are questioning the investment that they make, millions of dollars each year, to boxing. Is it worth it? And the answer is a resounding no. And
no.
What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? This is really, oh man, this is a sad day, man.
It is.
This is terrible. If you have that passion and you love boxing, well, I hope you enjoy watching club fights. Get ready to purchase your ticket. We sell ours at $40. Come on down. And say hi to us.
And the writing's on the wall, guys. Yep, the writing's on the wall, man. And Lennox here says, it's not appealing, but people always argue Mayweather did it and had loads of views. No, you know what? Later in Floyd's career, yeah, he fought that way, one punch at a time, very safe, very
Look, he was an
defensive.
anomaly. He was an
But
anomaly.
yeah, he was. Yeah, we
Like,
won't get
look,
nobody like that again.
look,
It won't happen
and
again.
no time before him. You give me a fighter who fought defensive first, safety first, like he did on pay-per-view. Now, once again, not all of his fights, and you look at his career up to 140. He was awesome. He was so much fun to watch. He was a
lower weight class.
machine.
He was phenomenal. Yeah,
you couldn't touch him. But when he moved up to the land of the bigger fighters like 47, he became a safety first fighter. But his defense and his counterpunching ability always shut down his opponent, and that was so impressive. But when you're talking about pay-per-view attractions, who before him actually used that mentality, and who after that has been successful on pay-per-view with that same mentality? Nobody. He was an anomaly, guys, and fighters need to stop looking at the unhealthy trends that he started. He and Heyman started a decade ago, right? Because it's not working. Being a businessman first is not working. It's completely hindered the entertainment value of the overall product.
Yep.
And trying to milk as much money as you possibly can is not healthy for the sport. Everything has to change. So when you hear guys like Rick Glazier, like Oscar De La Hoya, like Steven Espinoza talk about the big reset, we're here, guys. This is going to happen.
This is it. And this is another great comment here from Lennox when he says, I think Mayweather destroyed boxing because of that.
Yep.
He normalized being boring fighting, and the new generation followed. Yeah, I mean, look at how many terrible performances we've seen this year.
Yep.
From guys like that, right?
Yep.
Let's just look at the two major ones, right? Richardson Hitchens versus Jose Cepeda. Oh my God.
Oh, geez.
That was a fucking horrible fight.
Yep.
Shakur Stevenson, Edwin De Los Santos. Dreadful. Horrendous. Yeah. They got that. Where do you think they got that from?
What I laugh about, G Funky, and it's laughable now. These guys will say, "Oh, yeah, I deserve this much. I deserve millions to get in the ring because I risked my life." Well, are you really actually? Are you actually? Because I'm sorry, going out in San Antonio traffic midday is a little more dangerous than what you're doing.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! You look like you don't even want to fight. You're afraid. You look like you're afraid to even take a punch. Guys, look, and I'll never forget this. I was watching a fight with a friend of mine on pay-per-view, and he goes, "Well, you know what, dude? I just don't like boxing anymore because, maybe I'm silly, but I expect to see more fight in my fights."
My fight, yeah. And you know what? I left one out. And the one that I left out, and shame on me, the one that I left out, I think probably did the most damage this year. Yes, Jermell Charlo. A disgraceful performance by him against Canelo. Didn't even attempt to win that fight, in my opinion. And then had the nerve to get on the microphone, and all those people that paid thousands of dollars to get into that fucking building, and everyone that paid almost $100 to watch it at home and say, well, I mean, he's knocking these other guys out. He ain't knocked me out. Yeah, because you fucking stayed away from him all night.
Yeah, he's gonna be another fighter that will be lucky to get another big fight. His only chance of making serious money is if he is willing to fly to Australia and fight Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu, hey, guess what? Boxing's thriving over there. He's a big commodity. Guess what?
Huge.
He's on mainstream TV. And those pay-per-views aren't staged out of necessity.
Nope, they're kicking ass.
Staged from demand.
Yep, they're kicking fucking ass over there. And yeah, he's gonna have to go down under to get his next payday probably, because it ain't gonna happen in the U.S. market after that shit. And it's another reason why we got to give Andrade some credit, right?
Yep.
Because he didn't run around the ring all night.
Nope.
No, and he wasn't allowed to hold all night because of the referee.
Yep.
Yeah, he went in there, let his hands go when he could. He just got obliterated, got annihilated.
So it's hilarious. So
Spence.
And it's hilarious. So a lot of these guys, G Funky, a lot of these guys, they are trying to milk the networks for millions of dollars and aren't willing to take risks in the ring. That's over, guys. That's over. No one is going to be willing to pay for that. It's over.
No, Nobody
And you're
is,
right,
and
Stephen. Any business that doesn't live within its means is doomed. Yes, sir.
doomed. Yep.
Yes, sir. And any patron who claims to be, it's now once again, you can't start. I thought it was hilarious where these idiots who didn't like what we were saying, right, completely contradicts what bullshit narratives they're used to hearing from their favorite channels. And they said, oh, well, you can't complain. You can't fault the customers. And I'm like, since when do you actually call a shoplifter a customer?
Exactly, man.
That's
These guys
what
steal everything.
That's what 75 to 80% of the diehard fans have become. Shoplifters, 2-bit hustlers. That's all they are. Well, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for them. And once again, I sincerely apologize because those guys, the selfish acts of those idiots, the ignorant acts of those idiots, we're going to have to pay for it. The guys who legitimately love the sport, go out and buy tickets, go out and purchase these pay-per-views. They financially support it. We're going to have to suffer because of these buffoons who actually call themselves diehard boxing fans and the YouTube boxing community.
Yeah, and let's hope that the fans, I mean, I don't know. I've lost a lot of faith in them, but this Saturday, or tomorrow, I should say, not this Saturday, tomorrow, we got Sonny Edwards putting his belt on the line against Bam Rodriguez.
Yep.
Oh, could this be another stinker, Joe?
Well,
it's got the potential, man. Oh, yeah, I hope not.
Look, guys. Bam Rodriguez. I love Bam. I love his entire family. Jesse, his dad, is a very good guy, and he's always been good to us. And his brother Josh Franco, great guys. I saw him after the Robert Garcia event on my birthday, and his big glaring deficiency has always been cutting off the ring and closing the distance. Ever since he was an amateur, if you sit in the pocket and trade with Bam Rodriguez, he will shred you, just like Vasily Lomachenko will. Prime, young Vasily Lomachenko. That's why Bam fights, and that's why he looks in the pocket. Is that going to happen? Guys, I don't see how there's any way. The only way he wins this fight is if, well, the judges don't reward Sonny Edwards for running around the ring doing his best Yuri Foreman impression, or Bam Rodriguez catches him when he starts to slow down in the championship rounds. That's it.
Lay against the ropes like he does sometimes in some of his fights. That's gonna be the deciding, I think, the last 3 rounds, because we see Sonny do a lot of moving. You know, in my opinion, I feel like a lot of it is wasted movement. But when he decides to hang out on the ropes, which he does in just about every fight that he has, that's going to be dangerous, man, because Bam knows what the hell he's doing, man. He knows what he's doing. And, you give him that opportunity against ropes. Yeah, he's going to find a way to catch him with something, man. And unlike Sonny, Bam's got a good punch. He can hurt you.
Now, what I've been told is with or without, whether he wins or loses, he's going to be moving back up. After, and once again, his girl just had a child. He ballooned up in weight between fights. That's not good. He's been killing himself to make 112. Yeah, the last several weeks. And, did you see how emaciated his face looked during the face-off?
Yeah. And you know what else, too? I got to give a shout-out to my guy, Andy Vances, who's training fighters now out of San Jose.
Former Don Chargan fighter. Yep.
Yeah. He brought up a good point in his video where he did a prediction about this fight where he said, Bam's coming off of a broken jaw.
Yep. Broken jaw. Yep.
A lot of times when guys come off of a broken jaw, they don't look the same. It might be a little, not scared to fight, but again, you just had a broken jaw. You're going to be getting hit in the jaw. Yeah. Ooh. So that we'll see if that's going to play a factor too. But yeah, man, I'm hoping that it's not going to be another stinker, because boxing really needs a good explosive fight, man. And we had one on Saturday with Espinoza winning in dramatic fashion.
So what's the difference between Rafael Espinoza and all of these entitled bitches in America? What's the difference? He's from Guadalajara, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? He's hungry. You
Yep.
couldn't deny him. He showed you his heart and his will, and he let it spill out onto the canvas, fighting through injury with an injured ankle, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he wouldn't be denied. That's what kind of product the fans want to see. That's what kind of product we deserve. And unfortunately, none of these guys, most of the American fighters aren't willing to do that at this time.
Nope.
How many times have you seen someone quit on their stool this year or the last half decade?
Too many. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing, man. Don't let these channels tell you that fights like that are stupid. Oh, these guys are gonna be brain dead. Blah blah blah. You know, like we're through with the safety first shit, man. You know, I don't have a problem with a guy fighting on the outside, but yeah, let's let the hands go. Let's not hold all night long and do shit. You know, that's got to end, man. If we want to attract more fans, yeah, we need more entertaining fights, man. It's the way it's got to be, man. But I want to give you the last chance, Joe, to give your opinion on this so-called $20 million guaranteed that Bill Haney's claiming.
Look, guys,
coming from God knows where. Who knows where this money's coming from? Maybe he talked to this guy Terrence Crawford had. Remember, $50 million he was going to give.
Oh my gosh! Look, I don't know what. Look, I don't know where these guys are coming up with drumming up these figures, but it's not in real life, guys. It's not in real life. Now, once again, they talk about these big dollars even still. Where's the money going to come from? Where's the money supposed to come from? It doesn't grow on trees. And no one, after these last several numbers, especially, no one's going to be willing to bankroll that kind of figure. For a marginal attraction. No one. So, guys, if you don't start being more realistic with your pre-fight demands, no one's going to want to work with you. And that's just the way business is. That's it. So either start living in reality, or hey, have a nice retirement. You had a great career, and I hope I hope your accomplishments are worthy of Hall of Fame induction. But whatever you've done at this price point that you're demanding, whatever you've done, whatever you thought you were going to do in your career, whatever you thought you were going to accomplish in your career, you've already done it, unless you change your mentality, unless you change your demands, unless you're willing to sacrifice. No, you've had a great career. Have a nice retirement. Have a nice Christmas.
Yep. And you guys see it with guys like Keith Thurman. Look, he's going to go probably another, 2 years without a fight? When before that, it was, 3 years, I think?
Yeah, this guy's semi-retired, man. I mean, the kind of money he's demanding, like, if he were to approach us, right, in South Texas, asking for $10,000, yeah, I wouldn't be willing to pay it. I wouldn't be able to get sponsorship because no one knows who Keith Thurman. He's an afterthought. Like, he should change his name to Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman.
Or like the great James Gogi, Coach Gogi said, the retread, Keith Thurman.
Yeah, seriously.
And Lennox, look, I'll tell you this, man. I'll read this comment. He said, when I first came to YouTube, I couldn't believe the racial aspect, and seeing them fanboy for Gary Russell, etc. I never, ever heard of a casual mention those names. Dude, it's gotten... Trust me, man. I've been here since 2010 making videos. It wasn't always like that, man. It wasn't always like that. A lot of shit happened, but I'm not going to get into it because it's a lot of shit. But yeah, it wasn't always like that, man. But yeah, Gary Russell Jr. is another guy. Rarely fights. We rarely see the guy fight. He might as well be retired, you know?
I'm sorry,
who else? Yeah,
who?
Exactly. Exactly. Andy Ruiz, another guy. Fought twice since 2019.
Like he's holding out. You're gonna grow old holding out, brother. You either fight for what the network is willing to pay you, or what a promoter's willing to pay you, or you don't fight.
Yep. And his demands are And his demand seems to be so outrageous. Look, they're not even putting this guy on the heavyweight card in Saudi Arabia. That's the amazing thing to me. I don't know what the fuck happened there, but it is what it is. I mean, look, Wilder's there, and that's another guy who's been on the shelf for a while. He had what, half a round against Hellenius, and then guys barely fighting. Like these guys are barely fighting. And what do they all have in common, Joe?
Oh gosh, man, it's absurd living in fantasy land. That's what they have in common. Once again, the gravy trains come to a screeching halt, gentlemen.
You better be
Either
ready
get
for
off
it,
or just stay on and let it ride you into retirement, brother.
That's right. And guys, I want you to subscribe to War Week Boxing. All right. Check out my man Joseph Heron over there. He does a great show. Sunday nights with Coach James Gogi. All right. That's a great show. And again,
James is going to have a lot to say about this.
Oh, yes, he is. And
once again, all the guys who say, you know what, promoters really screwed us by taking the product off mainstream TV, free TV, and sticking it behind a subscription-only channel like HBO and Showtime. But it was a mainstream sport. And also taking fights, being lazy, and taking fights out of the mainstream venues, the arenas in our cities, and sticking them in the sterile casinos of Vegas and Atlantic City. Yeah, he's right. Everyone who's been in this business and who's slowly seen the decline of boxing year after year after year, even they couldn't predict that this was going to be the reality in 2023. Guys, and look, after the year that we've had, everyone's going to look back on this year as the last year that we enjoyed the amazing number of TV dates, the most it's been since the 90s. We've had since the 90s. Everyone is ducking out of the business. And why? I've been telling you the two biggest problems. And neither party, they're willing to budge. Both parties are in denial. Piracy among diehard fans and fighters with these absurd inflated purses that no one's willing to pay for any longer. Guys, it's come to a head. This is it. We're on life support. So either be part of the problem or part of the solution. We know you guys are already part of the solution. Thank you. But we just don't know if it's enough.
And Larry here's a real fan when he says, I like Robesi as a fan. And even though he lost, I remain a fan and I hope he comes back. But my love for boxing isn't dependent on a fighter whose style I like wins or loses.
Yep.
That's the way it should be, man.
No one fighter. And someone should tell Bill and Devin Haney this. No one is bigger than the health of the sport.
Yep.
They're like, if you got...
Oh, boy. Maybe Joe's internet went out right when we were getting ready to wrap this thing up. But I want to say this while he's getting his internet connection back together. Again, on his channel, War Week Boxing here. Sunday nights, Coach James Gogi does a show with him. Monday, I'm over there with Rick Glazer. Hopefully, we have some breaking news for you guys on Monday. We'll see. All right. But there could be a chance of some breaking news there. Tuesday nights, he does a show with Coach Ronnie Shields, and then Rodney Green Wednesdays. So yeah, guys, check him out, man. Good stuff. And I want to give a shout out to my man here, one of my original subscribers. I gotta give him my hand. All right. Psycho boxing fan. He says, man, it's always awesome to hear you and the dude that came in the live free diehard boxing talk. Yeah, man. It's been a crazy ride, man. But thanks for supporting, always supporting the channel, man. I appreciate you. And this is a guy, see, this is why this guy is so good, man. Not only because he's been subscribed to me since the very beginning of this channel, but we haven't always agreed on things, but he still comes back because we just talk boxing, man. We don't make it personal, anything like that, like a lot of these channels do, like a lot of channels do with me. They've made things personal with me for whatever reason. I have no idea, but it is what it is. I don't know if Joe's gonna make it back. We'll see. But yeah, guys, 50,000, not good. Not good for the health of the sport. So we'll see what Haney does from here, man. It's gonna be hard for him to justify these big purses from anybody, man. So we'll see what he does next. I think he probably will go after a Keith Thurman. You know, I appreciate you, Lennox. Thanks for being here, Steph and Larry, all you guys, man. They're up here, Combat Sports Media. Who else was here earlier? Adam. Let me see who else. I know there's a few other people. Boxing Magic, the GOAT. Appreciate Hashface Boxing. Appreciate you guys all for being here, man. If you didn't hit the like button, make sure you hit it. All right. And be on the lookout, guys. I might be dropping some big news soon. Okay. So be on the lookout for that. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. All right. For Joseph Heron of War Week Boxing, this is G Funky Boxing. We'll see you guys on the next one.